Hello, welcome to PlayStation Access. My name is Nathan and welcome back to the Tuesday Checklist. Every Tuesday, the Access team takes inspiration from a recent or upcoming release to start a conversation about some of our favourite games. As Star Wars Battlefront 2 is almost upon us, we've been thinking this week about video games of movies that are actually good, like actually good, and amazingly, we've come up with some. Dave is going to kick us off with Battlefront itself.
I don't know if we ever talked about how much I like Star Wars. I really like Star Wars.
We mentioned it, haven't we?
I'm really into it, actually.
Prequels especially.
No, Rob.
Dave's favourite films of all time.
No, not the prequels especially, but I admit that they exist. Fine. And I am not. No, listen. No, stop. Before this gets out of hand, let's talk about Star Wars Battlefront, which is just like a dream come true for me, a man who really loves Star Wars, because the attention to detail in that game is just absolutely second to none. Not just visually, but I think the sound is absolutely class as well and really puts you in the place. The problem with that is it's a multiplayer game, and often especially when I started playing, just wanted to look around, which isn't great, isn't very conducive to helping your team win, because, you know, you should be shooting and stuff, but when you're just looking around and going, oh wow, oh my god, it's the medical droid, you're getting shot, and that does tend to annoy people. I remember when Battlefront was announced, or when it was sort of properly shown off for the first time at E3, we were in LA in a hotel room watching EA's conference, and I honestly couldn't believe what I was seeing. The footage of the Battle of Hoth that they showed, like, just totally blew me away. Like, it's insane, the level of detail. A movie scene, a scene from my favourite movie that I have watched hundreds of times, and I could just tell that the game got it. You know, it just got what it was about that scene that I love, about that battle. When the game came out and I finally got to play that bit, it did not disappoint, and everything is like that. Everything in that game, for me, is just so faithful to Star Wars. Every bit of DLC, I don't know if you've played them all. Jabba's Palace is amazing. The Death Star is amazing. You actually get to do the trench run.
Are they gonna have stuff from the new movies in Battlefront?
Yeah, so that's another thing. There's new movies now, isn't there? Who can forget? So, the Battle of Jakku made it into Battlefront, which was great because that's not actually a battle that you see in the movie, but you see the remnants of it. So that was really cool, having a bit of backstory sort of filled out. And yeah, as far as I'm aware, there is going to be some The Last Jedi in Battlefront 2. Although I haven't seen The Last Jedi yet, and I actually shut my eyes and closed my ears with my fingers last night when I was at the cinema and the trailer came on, because I didn't want to see it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I don't know to what degree or how exactly the new films are going to be portrayed in Battlefront 2. But, well, we know Rey is in it. We've already seen Rey on Naboo, strangely, fighting Darth Maul. But it's the battle that we didn't know we wanted, but we're glad we've got it now. And that
cool. Come on, you've got to admit,
Darth Maul is cool. He is cool, but, you know, he doesn't even get a look in the film. It's absolutely mad. He's just gone. So it's good he's in the game, and everyone's very excited that he's in the game. I don't know whether he's Darth Maul from Episode 1 or if he's Darth Maul with droid legs. For sure, I don't know which one he is. I don't know if they've said, but that's an interesting thought, isn't it?
So I think when you're a kid, there's a few times where it feels like the stars align, and the thing that you really like
Star Wars
is also the thing that the world at large is also like celebrating and doing stuff about.
Right.
And it happened a few times for me. It happened with Star Wars.
Yeah.
I'm a prequel kid, which I know you love.
Ooh.
Grew up with the prequels,
Never mind.
which is fine. It's not my fault. There's nothing I can do about it.
Not my fault.
Very good. And it also happened with Lord of the Rings. So you can imagine I'm like a 12-year-old boy, and I'm just absorbing everything I can for these Lord of the Rings films that have just come out. Cereal boxes, colouring in books,
Tazos.
Action figures, Tazos, yeah, everything I can get my hands on. Suddenly, there's a PS2 game of Return of the King, which is basically play the film plus more.
That is, I should have written that on the box. Maybe they did.
Maybe they did, yeah. They just sold it to me.
0.1, play the film. 0.2.
Plus more. 3.
It was amazing. So
who do you play as? Because all I remember is screenshots of Aragorn.
You play
Yeah.
as the film.
Yeah. Well, this is the great thing. You play as everyone. You play as the film, and the first time you play as the film, the first time you play through it, you play as the characters that are in that situation in those scenes.
Right.
So it starts the Battle of Helm's Deep, which is a bit cheaty because it's not in that film, Return of the King. But it's a great opener. I'm not going to complain. You start playing as Gandalf as he turns up at Helm's Deep, and he charges down the hill, and you're on foot, and that's like the tutorial mission. Quite intense. And then the story sort of branches, and you follow the hobbits down their path, Frodo and Sam. You follow Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli to get the Army of the Dead, and you follow Gandalf on his quest through Isengard to help Merry and Pippin with the Ents. But once you've played the story missions through to the end, you can then replay any mission with any of the characters you've unlocked throughout.
Wow.
So basically what you need to do is just play through it once and then go back with Gandalf and just play them all again. Because what I remember very specifically about it is the characters all had their own combos, and they were just basically the face buttons, just in different orders. And if you did enough combos at a time, you got a perfect, which basically made you invincible for as long as the perfect lasted. Gandalf's final combo was just X, 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 X when he got to level 20. So you just played through with him, got him to level 20, and then went back through again, just hammering X, and he was just invincible. He had unlimited ammo coming out of his staff.
Ammo.
Anything that touched him, that's what it was, yeah. It was ammo, wizard ammo, out of his staff, it just pew pew. And anything touched him just died. It was just brilliant fun.
So one of my favourite adaptations is Spider-Man 2. An old game that came out on PS2 at the same time that, surprise, surprise, Spider-Man 2 came out at the cinema. Now I feel I need to explain what Spider-Man 2 is for everyone who's like 15 and under.
Which Spider-Man?
When they started making the Spider-Man movies the first time. So with...
Which first time? Talk me through it.
The Sam Raimi ones, the Sam Raimi first time, where Tobey Maguire was Peter Parker.
Right.
That first time.
Which time are we on now?
The third
time?
The third time.
Right.
Because it was Andrew Garfield had 2, for some reason they stopped. And but anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself.
So this is Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2.
1.
Yes.
Spider-Man 2, where Alfred Molina plays Dr. Octopus. That great one. It's often considered to be the best Spider-Man film.
Definitive.
Spider-Man 2, brilliant film. The game, Spider-Man 2, perfectly captures the amazing, not just the look of Spider-Man swinging around Manhattan in that film, but just the feeling of it. I mean, that's the best bit of those films for me, is just those amazing shots you get of him, just the liberating joy of him swinging around the city. And that is what Spider-Man 2 is all about. Like, the missions and stuff, I can't even remember what they were about. I think it loosely followed the plot of the movie, but all I did was just swing around. And you can do it pretty much straight away. It doesn't lock off loads of the city for you. You're there in the game, you're in the Spidey suit, there's no mucking about. Jump off the tallest building, and it's just the simplest thing just to swing around it. And you can really get that kind of elastic whoosh as you swing close to the ground. And when you get really, really good at it and really comfortable, you can really start doing some quite daring things. Like, my favorite thing to do was to climb to the very top of the Empire State Building, which is really, really high in Spider-Man 2. You can just see the entire open world around you, just leap off the edge, and just the ground just whooshes up towards you. And you know the exact moment to fire off your web, and so you kind of swing just inches above the ground, and then doing iconic things like just swinging just above the traffic and everything. It's just it was such a liberating game. And you could even do the thing where he fires one web with one arm, one web with the other arm, and kind of pulls himself back, and then slingshots himself forward.
Nice.
It was just great. And
was it open world then? Could you just go around just doing that?
did you not play it?
No, I don't
Oh my
play
god, it was by far and away the best superhero game ever. I mean, I still think it's up there with Batman, the Batman Arkham series for letting you feel like you're the superhero.
Right.
It lets you feel like you're Spider-Man just amazingly. I mean, the upcoming PS4 Spider-Man looks incredible. I'm hoping it's going to do the same thing. But I always have incredibly fond memories of Spider-Man 2. Just loads of really cool little things you could do, like loads of little gangs of thugs just inexplicably on the top of skyscrapers for some reason. Just hanging out on the top of skyscrapers, and you could just go up there with your web powers, and there were so many combos you could unlock that just looked so amazing. You felt so powerful. Like at no point did you find yourself against a group of enemies and you're like, oh no, what am I going to do? You always thought, I can't wait to do the fun things to you. And you could like yank the guns out of their hands, you could string them up, you could dangle them off the edge of things, hoist them up from lampposts, just like get them all twirled up in the web so they couldn't move. Just, you had so many things you could do to them, and obviously I liked kind of grabbing them, twirling them around, just flinging them off the side of buildings.
But not lethally, obviously.
The specific move was non-lethal, but I think...
You never saw them hit the floor?
No, but the game classed the actual move as non-lethal, and then them falling, that, you know, that's not Spider-Man killing them, that's gravity killing them, exactly.
Yeah.
It's the fall that killed them.
It's fine.
But, oh, it was great. Absolutely amazing.
So Dave, your contention was that Star Wars Battlefront was the most faithful adaptation of a movie.
Fact.
But I don't think that you could have played The Chronicles of Riddick, Escape from Butcher Bay, or its sequel, Assault on Dark Athena, because they are incredibly faithful to their slightly not brilliant sci-fi movie origins. Do you know what I'm talking about here?
Pitch Black. That's where you're wrong.
Pitch Black.
I did play the first one loads.
Really?
Yeah.
Butcher Bay?
Yeah.
Do you know what? I wanted to talk about the beginning of Butcher Bay, and the reason I think it's more faithful an adaptation than even Star Wars Battlefront with all the pew-pewing is because Pitch Black and then The Chronicles of Riddick are quite strange movies. We actually watched Pitch Black quite recently, Dave, in the cinema, or certainly I did, because of the Prey evening that Bethesda put on, and I realised what an odd movie it was. It's quite 90s in lots of ways. The Escape from Butcher Bay is a prequel to Pitch Black. The amazing thing about the game, which I probably should have put up front, is that it's first person, science fiction, and you're thinking, is it, you know, what kind of route is it going to go down? It's very much along the kind of what people have done a bit later. You don't really get, it's like more of a stealthy talking to people kind of, you know, it's more Dishonored and Prey. It's by Starbury Studios, and it's not like a big action set piece thing. And I think that it was developed, I think, with Vin Diesel was quite involved with it. I think he play tested it. His company was involved with it. There's a story from Starbreeze that he sent them a replica gun from The Chronicles of Riddick with a note that said, if you mess this up, I will kill you. But you know, I think it was supposed to be fun.
Fun. But
it's a great game. It's a really good game.
I remember thinking it was brilliant. I also remember from the start, you're in prison and you just have to do a bit of prison time in the game.
Yeah.
I remember
you go to the yard.
I remember first person punching.
Yes. Yeah.
Which really impressed me. And
I mean, that's something that's got in common with the Dishonored games, genuinely.
And I think it was the first time I learnt the word shiv.
Really? I mean, that's an important word.
Yeah.
Or slam. He refers to prisons as slam.
In the slam.
Yeah, it's like, you know, triple high security slam.
Nice.
Hardest in the galaxy, but they hadn't heard of him yet.
I remember coming out of a drain into some showers.
Classic prison experience.
That's all I remember, but my big takeaway was I really enjoyed it.
I think, I'm not surprised you enjoyed it. It's like a slightly deeper experience. You'd expect, you know, he'd have a fight with the toughest guy in there, then he'd get to know the prison guard, who in this instance is played by Exhibit, by the way. That's the era that we're talking about. Yeah, and then he'd like find a gun, and then he'd find a better gun, you know what I mean? Most of the guns in this game are like genetically locked to the people that you find them on, so you can't use them. So you have to just stab people in the dark. Yeah. It's really sort of, it's really prisony. It keeps you really grounded, and it's not like a, you know, like a release. And I think it's better for it.
Did you know he has droid legs, Rob?
No, I didn't know that.
Do you know he doesn't die at the end of episode 1?
Idea.
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
In the expanded universe, you find out that he doesn't die. He's chopped in half, as you see, and he gets some droid legs, and he goes on.
I think he stays alive just purely from the power of how angry he is.
He fell like 200-300 feet.
He did get chopped in half. Yeah, no, he did.
When that happened.
Well, yeah, but you don't know what he landed on. You can't see the bottom. It might have been cushions.
Maybe
Yeah.
his torso landed on his legs.
Like a Lego man. You just snapped back together. Yeah, who knows?
I'm going to choose to believe Darth Maul snapping back together like a Lego man is now official Star Wars canon. Let us know in the comments which video game based on a movie is your favourite. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video and subscribe for more like this every Tuesday. Thanks for watching and we'll see you next week.